So I'm going to record this session. You can find previous sessions on the YouTube playlist where we're going to point you to find the recording of this session. You can also get in touch with your local account manager. So that's me in the middle here, surrounded by all our wonderful account managers. Debbie supports the northeast of England and Scotland. We have account managers for all of the UK. I know we've got people here today from outside the UK. We have solutions consultants in the US, as well as partners around the world that can help support you get to know Core First Learning or any other aspect of Boardmaker Online better than we can do in this 30-minute session. So all of this will be sent to you as a follow-up. We're going to send you a copy of the PowerPoint with lots of hyperlinks so that you can investigate things in your own time, recreate what you've seen me do, as well as get in touch with our team. So we're talking about Boardmaker Online today, and I know some of you have been working through these series of webinars with us, so you've gotten to know how to create your printed and interactive resources in the editor. You've gotten to know how to assign the work that you've created in the Student Center. We also give you ready-made curricula in Boardmaker Online. So this includes Reading Avenue, which we do have a webinar upcoming on that, as well as Core First Learning. So you can assign work from the curricula to the Student Center so that your learners can access it whenever they like, either via a web browser or the Student Center app. This is all part of your Boardmaker Online system. So depending on what type of account you have, depends on the amount of student logins you're able to create for the Student Center. So the different curricula that we offer are Core First Learning, which we'll look at today, and then Reading Avenue, I believe we have a training at the end of the week on. There's also some ready-made resources within the Boardmaker community. This is actually out of date. It's up to 95,000 resources that are shared by others. We also have within the community some groups that have been created by the Tobii Dynavox team, by other professionals and people around the world, where you can find lots of ready-made resources just ripe for the picking. So today we're going to focus on Core First Learning, which helps learners to find, use, and read core words. We focus on 36 specific core words, and each word has a unit of instruction around it. So we're saying this is somewhere from 36, I think, way beyond weeks of instruction. My experience as a teacher has been with kids with more complex needs, so I think this could have been a 3-year curriculum that we would have worked through. We'll see how in Core First Learning you also get lesson plans and activities. There are device overlays, so if you have people using things like a GoTalk or a ProxTalker, you can print those overlays out. And we also give you some communication boards for anyone who prefers to use a low-tech system or to model alongside a high-tech one. So these are the 36 words that we focus on in Core First Learning. And we focus on these 36 core words because they were defined by Project Core, a research project run by the Center for Literacy and Disability Studies. So they took a lot of time looking at words that are used 85% of the time. So 85% let me rephrase that. 85% of what we say is made up with core words. We know that these 36 words, as specified from the Center for Literacy and Disability Studies, are particularly powerful in that they can be used individually to express our ideas or needs or thoughts, but then even more so when they're used together, 1, 2, or 3 of these words together really can allow us to say a lot of what we might be thinking. We know these 36 core words overlap with the high frequency words that our schools all around the world are focusing on as part of their literacy programs. So while core words tend to be stronger for communication, high frequency words are more on the written word. There is a lot of overlap, but there are words that you see in a high frequency in written text that might not be as powerful. Like I think of the word the. If that's going to be one of the first words that I'm going to use, the is probably not going to get me as far as want, not, like, or more. Though in printed text, we'll see that the is used very often. It's probably one of our highest frequency words. So there's a little bit of a difference there. And I hope that makes sense. Sorry, I bumbled the explanation a little. We will give you links about right to Project Core, where you can find out about all the research that was done. There are also some wonderful teaching supports and implementation resources in there. I highly recommend taking some time to look through the professional development modules, because they really hold your hand through how to support somebody in using these very, very powerful words. Now, for each of these 36 words, we have developed a unit of instruction. Within that unit of instruction, you're going to get 3 books that really highlight the focus word. So in these examples, it's the word he. We make sure that one of our books uses photography, so it'll cross age ranges. We try to do one book aimed more towards our older learners, and another book that may be aimed more towards our younger learners, because we know people can come to us needing this support from age 4 to 104. So we try to offer materials that's going to work across the age ranges. Along with the books, you also get supporting activities. So here's a range of them, and they'll vary, but you get 3 for each word. So it could be something like a matching game. It could be a word search. It could be sorting. It could be engaging in a writing activity or taking a poll. All of these activities are aimed at helping our learners find, use, and read these core words. Now, each week of instruction, each unit gives you a lesson plan. So as a teacher, as a therapist, I have the quick lesson guide, which is my predictable instruction. It stays the same across all 36 units. And in very broad strokes, we would say in day 1, we introduce the word and the book title, and we do a picture walk through the book. In day 2, we read the book and we really focus on finding the word in someone's AAC system as well as within the book we're reading. So helping to start to make those connections between the words we're speaking, the words we're hearing, and the words that we're reading and writing with. On day 3, we're going to read the book again, and then we're going to engage the student in creating their own book with that focus core word. Day 4, we're going to read the book that the student wrote. And in day 5, we might engage in some extension activities. So that is our instructional routine that remains the same throughout all 36 weeks. But we also give you a more structured lesson plan that looks at each particular word and will help guide you through how to do a picture walk, how to make a comment, which will hopefully elicit a response. So there's lots of different things that's going to help you with the particulars of implementing this week of instruction or the unit around that word. We also give communication books and device overlays. So as I said before, if you have someone using a static device like a GoTalk, we've taken core words, put them into the device overlay, and you could slip that right in, ready to use alongside the book that you're reading and the activities you're engaging in. We also have books that mimic the Snap Core First layout. So there are 13 variations of the book, and you can print those out as a PDF, or you can get to them in an editable format so that you can put in specific vocabulary for your learner. And these are all either to use for modeling alongside the high-tech version of Snap Core First, or to use as a communication device itself if someone doesn't have access to the app. So why Core First Learning? How do we know it works? Well, one, we know that as I just showed you, there's a predictable instruction. So it's going to save time for instructors, but even more so, it's going to really set our learners up for success as they get into that instructional routine and know what's expected of them. We know that Core First Learning gives us a lot of opportunities to engage in shared reading, which is a wonderful mechanism for helping our learners make the connection between the language that they're using in their AAC systems, the language that they're hearing spoken all around them, and making that connection to the print that they're seeing on that page, on that screen, the print within the book. So it's really about making connections between language and literacy. Core First Learning can really help to bridge the homeschool environment. So core words are so powerful because they can be used anywhere by anyone in any context. So this isn't something that just happens in the classroom. We need to practice using those core words and get lots of experience with those core words and model the use of those core words everywhere. So that goes from outside the classroom into our home environments. Core First Learning is accessible. So there's a huge interactive element to Core First Learning, which we've made accessible using eye gaze switches, mouse, or touch. And it's evidence-based. So Maureen Donnelly, who is at the head of the team that created Core First Learning, is a protege of Karen Erickson. She studied under her. Karen Erickson is the director for the Center for Literacy and Disability Studies, and is really one of the thought leaders when it comes to teaching children and adults with very complex needs how to read and write. So Maureen has taken a look at all the latest literacy research, all the evidence-based teaching practices, all of the research when it comes to language and AAC development, and has used that to help shape Core First Learning. And remember that the whole thing behind it is that we want to find those words, read them, and then use them on our AAC system. So making those connections between what we see on the printed page and what we're using to express ourselves. Oop, lots of examples there. There you go. And these core words can be used in any setting. So if we think of go, we can use it at the end of the school day. I want to go home. Can I go next when we're playing a game? I want to go with my friends when we're out in a social setting. In maths class, these two things go together. And just in general observation, that did not go right. So these words are hugely flexible and we can use them in so many different contexts. And Core First Learning is just providing another context to engage in those words and really make the connections between the way that we're using them within our systems expressively and that connection to the written word. We've got a really good at-home learning module. It's on our website, and we'll send you the link to this, where we talk about using core vocabulary at home, supporting people through homeschool learning and what's going on in the environment at the moment. The blog really talks quite a lot about how you can use this find, use, read approach when it comes to core words. I will send you the link to it. It's really worth a moment to take and read through, and there are connections then to Core First Learning through there. So what I'd like to do right now is get into Boardmaker Online and show you where you can find Core First Learning so you can then share it with your students. But as I change over from PowerPoint to Boardmaker Online, are there any questions that have popped up on the chat? Would anyone like to unmute themselves for a moment?
Yes, Tina, is it intended that you do Core First alongside Reading Avenue, or is it that you would do Core First to start with and then move on to Reading Avenue?
That is a really good question. Yes, no, either. We have, like I know of one school in particular that has started with Core First Learning, and they are using Core First Learning as something within there. They've got like an AAC group, like a chat group. They get all their AAC users together to really work on improving AAC skills, and they're using Core First Learning as one of the activities that the group engages in. They do shared reading and they work on the activities together. And then within the classrooms, they're using Reading Avenue with all of their learners as individual interventions. So they do kind of serve two purposes. So for our AAC users, Core First Learning, really helping to make that language to word, written word connection.
Yes.
Where Reading Avenue is more of our conventional literacy skills. So you could absolutely use the two together. But then there is also certainly circumstance, particularly maybe with some of our more complex learners, I might start with core first learning and just focus on that for a while until I feel that we've made that connection. We're engaging in shared reading. I'm interested in the written word, and now kind of moving on to Reading Avenue to start to introduce and work on more of those conventional skills. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Cool. Good question. I get that a lot, which is good because it means people know about both programs, which is wonderful. Okay, I'm just going to log in. Were there any other questions?
No, there's nothing in the chat.
Okay, so I've just logged in to my Boardmaker Online account. So some of you may have heard about Boardmaker 7, something that's coming out for back to school. Any of you who currently have a Boardmaker Online account, I want to let you know that you are going to be moving straight into Boardmaker 7, and all of this part of it stays exactly the same. So you are going to log in when you have Boardmaker 7, just like you do now. None of this is going to change. You are going to find the curriculum just as I show you. The biggest changer is going to be when you go to create activities, whether it's print or interactive. Rather than having your online editor pop up, it's going to take you to this installed application called Boardmaker 7. But everything you're learning about core first learning, about the Student Center, about Reading Avenue, about the community stays exactly the same. So we're really starting to talk about Boardmaker 7. So I just want to take a moment to assure you all of these skills stay the same when we move to Boardmaker 7 for back to school. So I've gone straight into curriculum, and then I'm going to find core first learning, and I will go to use it. Now I know we've got somebody here from the United States, so you of course would go to the US version. For those of you who are joining us from the UK, or if you prefer the word color spelt with U, then you're going to go to the UK. And it is more than that. It's not just spelling. There's also some contextual stuff, like rather than talking about baseball, we talk about cricket, those kind of things. So there have been those changes made. Here we see 3 sets. So these have 12 words in each. We've just lumped those 36 words into sets 1, 2, and 3. You would start with word 1 unless you know a student is really using that word. They can find it, they can use it, they're identifying it. Then you may want to skip up to the words that they're not using. We go through and work through these words the same way that Project Core suggests these words are introduced to a learner. So we are following the research as to which way we introduce these words. So let's say we want to go in and start with the word go. Right at the top, I'm going to see resources, and here I'm going to get my quick lesson guide. So just as I showed you in PowerPoint, this is my predictable instruction. So that's there in every set. When I go to go, then I'm going to find my lesson plan that is specific to the word go. So I may want to print that out, and that's going to support me in the reading of the books and using the activities. We have a letter home to parents. We have all 3 books in printable formats, because you may want to print it out and laminate it, throw it in the book bag, pop it in the post to use at home alongside the AAC system. But we also have it just below in an interactive format. So here we can see this book that's interactive because it's got a screen there. If I play it, we get that book focusing on the word go. Just let me open this, all right. And along with the book, we also get a few other supports. So the page can be read out. Don't know if, did I share my sound? Let me go share the sound, there you go. So it'll read aloud.
I don't see Mum.
I also get a talk board here so I can make comments. I don't know why Mom's not there. Let me think. You know what? That's silly. I don't think she went to the zoo. No, you know what? I don't know. Let's read on to find out what happened.
Where did she go?
Now, of course, these talk boards are there if we need them. If we have an AAC system in place, we can pull it up that AAC system and be able to use our language that's in there. So that could be a reason why maybe you want to print the book rather than use interactive. But of course, with interactive, we can then also engage our learners who are
I
using a
don't see Dad.
switch or who are using eye gaze, and they can get involved with having the page read again. They can move to the next page. If you are using Snap Core First, you can launch right from Snap Core First into Core First Learning and toggle back and forth. So it's pretty seamless to be able to use your vocabulary in Snap Core First alongside these books. So we go through and we read the book. We then will find all the other activities. So you will find things like the matching game. So they'll vary. There'll be 3 different activities, and they're not always the same. You don't always get a matching column, or you don't always get find the word. They will vary. So we're giving some repetition with variety. So here I can go through and do my matching
Find
game.
the pairs that are the same.
Again, we have a talk board. Now, the talk boards stay the same throughout all the books. They're going to differ slightly when we're in the activities, but they will stay the same throughout all the activities. But here I've got language that says, you know, I want to do it again, or this is boring, things that are more specific to the game or the activity
What
than
would
we
you like to
have
do now?
in for reading a book. We also give you 3 levels of support for writing frames so that our learners can engage in writing their own book. So there's one with a minimal level of support, a moderate level of support, and a maximum level of support. So I'll just go straight down the middle and show you what the writing frame looks like if we're giving a moderate level of support. So here we want to engage the learner in creating their own book with the highlighted word. In this case, it's go. So again, a talking board. For some reason, the sound's gone a bit funny on this one. A talking board that I can use, again, language more specific to engage in a writing activity.
Then
here I can, that's some work I did before, so I'm just going to clear that all.
Then
I don't know why it's skipping. Yes. Okay. I can choose a picture to write about. And really nice big buttons here, so I can choose something. These, somebody with new to eye gaze may need some intervention. We are looking at improving the interface. We have learned a lot through things like Reading Avenue. But once we get into the right section, then we've got, again, nice big buttons. Here with sentence stems, focusing on that keyword, I hope we go to. Now we're using symbols here because the symbols above these words are more to help somebody express their thoughts. We're not focusing necessarily on
music lesson.
The core word. When we want the focus to be on the word, we would never put a symbol above it. So we're making a connection, identifying those letters, identifying that word, because we know once we put a symbol above it, the attention will go to the symbol.
Today
we want people to be able to express themselves regardless of their literacy levels. So that's why we would put a symbol in the second half
in
so
the
they
car.
can tell us what they think. So it's changing that focus a bit. Here on the core word, there,
I hope we go
tell me what you think. We also have access to the keyboard, so we can go through and attempt to write the word ourselves. We've got core words available to us here, as well as the full keyboard, so we can engage in some spelling activities. And this will pop up with a symbol word prediction once I start to type. There we go. So that's giving me a wonderful structure and scaffold for correct spelling. Now, all of this can then be assigned to our students to use in the Student Center. So we're going to give you step-by-step. If you haven't come to the webinar about the Boardmaker Student Center, there is one in our playlist on our YouTube channel, and we will send you links on how to create students. But I can assign any of this to a student right now. So one thing I haven't talked about is the quiz. So I'm going to go in there and I'm going to assign that to a student that I have created called Monday. And then I'm going to give Monday the book I would like her to read. And lastly, I would like her to do, let's find one that we haven't done yet. Oh, the matching game I've already done. Let's do a list poem. Do we have another? There should be a third activity. I'll do the list poem. Okay. Okay. Sorry, my daughter's just telling me she's done. You can go outside if you like. So now I'm going to go to, it can either be the freely installed app, or it can be online. I'm going to go to this website. There's my student name and password. So we're going to log in. And then the student can access the work that I just assigned them. So now I didn't talk about the quiz. It's not within the instructional routine because it's really an assessment that you can implement at any point throughout. So here I'm going to go in, I'm going to open up the quiz. I'd probably do this on day 1.
Show me, go.
So I can get that baseline. Show me, go. It will not
Put.
autocorrect because this is an assessment. Can Monday find the word go?
Show me, go.
And now, can she find the word go in a different format?
Go.
And then
Find the
after
word that fits in the sentence. Watch. The car.
So now can she use that word correctly?
Take. Watch. The car. Take.
And then lastly,
Which sentence makes sense?
again, it's using it.
Can I that?
And we can listen to these.
Can I go? Can I go? You reached the end of this activity.
Okay, so this I might do at the beginning and then read the book, engage in a few activities, and then maybe I would do it halfway through my instructional routine and then again at the end. And the fantastic thing is I can go in and through my student management, and all this is going to stay exactly the same in Boardmaker 7. I can go in and track her performance. So here's the work that she's been given. If I wanted to put the quiz right at the top, so it's the first thing that opens in the Student Center and then the book, I can also move things around here. You know what, she doesn't need that guided reading anymore, so let's get rid of that. And then you'll see, just let me move this, you'll see when I go to my Student Center and I refresh it, it moved the quiz, it got rid of the activity. But then what I can also do is go to performance results. And I can see here on the 23rd of June at 11:59, here's the quiz that Monday engaged in, and then it's going to show me the results. All right, she is not finding that word. We need to do some intervention there. Although she did it right the second time, but then it's really kind of scattered. So it'll help me go through and I can print this off and it will give me a great reference and record of how she's been doing. All right, that is time up. I'm sorry, it's 1 minute over. I'm happy to take some questions, but I understand you're busy people if people need to go.
There's nothing in the chat window, Tina.
You will get within the PowerPoint that I will send as follow-up. You will get, oh, I didn't fix that, sorry. You will get 5 steps for replicating exactly what you just saw. So I will give you hyperlinks so you can find more about how to create a student and assign work and how to find core first learning. That's all going to have hyperlinks out to tutorials you can do in your own time. That will all be part of the follow-up that we'll send you shortly. As well as links if you want to learn more about Snap Core First, so which has core words right at the heart of it. That's our app, the AAC app. We have some sessions going on about that. There is, I think, maybe just one more. We've got Reading Avenue coming up at the end of this week. The rest are all on the YouTube playlist, and we are planning July. July webinars will be going up very shortly, and the Student Center and interactive resources will definitely be there because they've been very popular webinars, so look for them in July. And of course, get in touch with your local account managers. We'll send you links how to, because they'd love to take you through this in greater detail. But if there's no questions, I'm going to end the recording. If anybody
There's
likes
one question, Tina.
Okay.
So somebody's pupil uses a competitor's device, and she thinks the layouts are different, but can she add pages, or would I add a page showing core words in the same format?
So within the quiz where the layout is showing a Snap Core First page, Core First Learning is not editable. So it is just identifying a core word. The layout obviously works really well with Snap Core First. I think there's no harm if they're using a different layout, but you certainly could make your own interactive resource using templates. So you can make something that mimics our quiz and then put the layout that's more similar to what they're using within their system. But at the moment, Core First Learning is non-editable. We may see things like that change, though, as we get into Boardmaker 7. We're constantly looking at how to improve this curriculum. Any other questions?
No, all done.
All right, well, I'll end the recording. Let me just stop that. Thank you so much for your time and attention.